Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tech Dojo's Tech Talk. My name is Akur Rahman Khan, and I'm here to talk about web design theory. We're mainly going to discuss three topics, and they are safety color guidelines for the web, 6 quick wins for halfway decent design, simple guide for photo selection. So let's start off with safety color guidelines for the web. Color scheme is canvas, not the painting. As you know, scheme is the colors that you usually choose to design your website. So they should not take away the shine and the attraction from the main content. One of the most fundamental principles in web design is that no matter how much time you spend creating a glorious design, its ultimate role is to play second fiddle to the real star of the show, the content. Your color scheme shouldn't ever make the design louder than the content it presents. And what do I mean by that? This picture. As you can see, the bright colors take away the attraction from the main images. Although this may be an extreme example, but you get the point. Here are some basic steps to start you off. Start with a simple gray base. Generally speaking, you should avoid using jet black for text as dark gray is a little easier to read. A comfortable range is anywhere between hash 33333 to hash 66666. For your background colors, full white hash FFFF is the safest bet for backgrounds, immediately behind any body of text. These are not rules for colors you must use, just guidelines so you know you can safely get started with. Choose just one color to highlight. The more colors you use, the trickier it gets to keep them all under control. So to start with, just add one extra color on top of your grayscale base that will be used for the purpose of highlighting like things like links, some headlines, menus, buttons, and so on. To use more colors, use variations of that one highlight color that you have already chosen. When in doubt, use the color blue, as it has been scientifically proven to be more soothing to the eye. So we're going to move on to the next topic, which is 6 quick wins for halfway decent design. Just to start off, don't use gimmicky fonts. Fonts should be easily readable and simple, and since these guidelines are for people who are starting out, it's better to not use gimmicky fonts because the noble idea can go horribly wrong. Keep your font choices simple. Never have more than 15 words on a line. As you can see, if you're reading this text, this is a pretty awkward body of text to read, not simply because of the small type size and type line spacing, but also due to the long measure, which makes tracking difficult. When your eye reaches the end of a line of text, it has to track its way back to the beginning of the following line. When that distance is increased, it's far more likely that the eye will trip up while searching for the correct place, disrupting the flow of text and making the reading experience utterly miserable, ultimately leading to depression and loss of dignity. Use only one font. Don't let yourself get distracted. You'll learn much more about how to create good design if you just pick one good typeface that is right for your projects and instead worry about size changes, alignments, and white space. Also, pick one color. If you look at the most powerful brands that you usually engage with, maybe it's Google, Yelp, Duolingo, Facebook, and Twitter, for example, each of those brings to mind its own color, and that color dominates each of their products. Pick one color that is really appropriate for your design, then make everything else shades and tints of that color. But more than anything, simplify. The things that really matter in making a design look clean and cohesive, the sizing of elements, the way they align and relate to each other, and the amount of white space between them. These are usually invisible to us, but you really need to focus on them because these invisible things brings out the shine in the visible things. That's why I am saying that focus more on the invisible rather than the visible. The next topic that we're going to talk about is simple guide for photo selection. We are going to start off by saying demand for attention by using a large photo. What do I mean by that? Is that people usually scan screens based on past experience and expectations. The top left is the most common starting point for user's eyes, although this does depend on their culture's reading patterns. If you're using a large photo on the page, it will immediately grab their attention and pull them away from their usual tendency to portray an example, I'm going to show you the next slide. As you can see, your focus immediately goes to the larger photo, although the smaller photo is on the top left side of the slide. Next, we're going to talk about treating a photo as content. Photos should never be used just to jazz up the web page. I'm sure you want to argue with me that a photo on a web page is content, but do you really treat it as such? Do you use it as just as an add-on or a nice content filler? Have you considered all aspects of that particular piece of content? Have you evaluated that photo properly before you have chosen to use it? Does the photo provide meaningful information or does it provide help for a user's current task? These are just some of the questions you need to answer before using a photo on a web page. Choosing the perfect photo. Our brain processes images 60,000 times faster than reading text. Mike Perkinson. Perkinson is a fellow scientist who has researched about this, so he knows what he's saying. So ask yourself some questions before selecting a photo. Start off with, is it useful? Thus, if you use a meaningful photo, it will help users understand the theme and point of the content much faster in a more easier way. You can tell right away that this image has been professionally shot. Look at the hands and fingernails. Most importantly, it directly communicates what the product is about and how easy it is to use it. Very useful, educational, and instructional photo. GroveMate does a great job of presenting a collection of the product on a single full-screen background photo. It is quite obvious that they manufacture high wooden office accessories. Next, you need to ask yourself another question is that, is the photo effective? An example of an effective photo is the TSPTR website. Notice how the man on the photo is looking downwards, like there is something below for you to explore. Indeed, there is something below. If you scroll down on the website, you will see more of the content which shows that what is the website about and what they're offering. The MapQuest website not only conveys emotion with the imagery, but also uses clever gaze direction to guide users' eyes to important content on the page. In this case, the mobile download link on the left. The Colossal website features a large photo on the homepage showing what they do. They hand paint large ads and murals, and how they do it. Check out the man on the right. The interesting thing about this photo is the people passing by on the left. They look excited about what they're witnessing, which involves you as an observer and makes the whole photo and message exciting and effective. Another question that you should ask yourself is it emotive? Does it bring out your emotion when you're seeing this photo? See the Children features a close-up photo of a child in need which perfectly aligns with the tagline and topic of the photo. Notice how the child is looking at the make a donation tab. Thus, it invokes you to make a donation. If you want to learn more, please refer to this link. Thank you for attending this talk.